All right, I'm going to be doing example 6. I'm going to draw a Venn diagram to represent the scenario of the universal set of being all integers from 0 to 9, C being a subset of that, containing the numbers 3, 4, 5, D containing 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. So I've drawn a Venn diagram. Maybe I'm going to make that a little bit bigger here in order to answer the question. But there. This is my universal set, or my universal space, or the universe. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, really, the universe is the largest set possible in the context, and I have two subsets of that, set C and set D. I look at these two sets, and I know that I'm going to draw circles and circles, but I wonder if the circles overlap, or if they're, overlap, or do they look like this? That would be disjoint. So I'm going to look for common elements between both sets. What I notice is there is no common element. So here's set C. Here's set D. They are disjoint. They share no common elements. So set C has elements 3, 4, and 5. Set D has elements 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. So I'm going to go in my universe. So now I have put some elements in my set. I'm going to look for elements that are neither in set D or set D, and that would include the number, for instance, 0. Where is 0? In neither. 1 is in set D. 2 is in set D. 3 is in C. 4 is in C. 5 is in C. 6, 7, 8 are in D, and 9 appears that it is in neither set. So really, I have two elements that are neither in C and D. So I am just going to go through this and identify the number of elements in set C. I'm going to say 3. There are 3 elements. I'm going to identify the elements now for B. I'm going to identify the elements in set D. Set D has 5 elements. So determine set C or D. So that is the OR operator, C or D. So what numbers are in C or D? 1, 2. So 1 and 2 are in set D. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So really it's all the elements except for the ones that I omitted, or 0 and 9. Determine set C and D. So where do these two sets, C and D, overlap? So if I was to color them in, let me just highlight that. Here's set C and here's set D. Where do these two sets overlap? Well, they are disjoint. So you could either write it such as, here's my set, and there's no common elements where they overlap. However, you can also put that, which means null. So now here, E, determine the number that are in set C and D. Now that is the union. So C and D. Sorry, incorrect. C or D. Right, upward opening is OR. So really, I need to ask myself how many are in this or this. So how many are in C? There's 3 in C. There's 5 in D. And these two sets are disjoint. So really they don't share any common element, so there's 3 plus 5. Determine the number that are in C and D. Well, together, what we see is C and D are disjoint. So they have 0 elements that are common. All right. Now, this is where things kind of get tricky on me here. Determine not C and determine not C and D. So not C is everything outside C. And everything outside C is 0, 9, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. So that is the set of not C, all of this. Now, and D. So D is what I've highlighted in yellow. So really, what I'm looking for is just not C and D. I have to include 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. Those are the elements that I'm talking about. The reason why I did not include 0 or 9 is because those 2 elements are not in D. All right, so, yikes. So here we are, determine elements. So I'm determining the set, moving on to the next question. I'm determining the set that is not C. So it's really everything outside C, or, now this is the mathematical operation or D. So if an element meets either of these conditions, they are included in the set. So this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that's example 6. Let's go to example 7. Now, we could draw a Venn diagram here, and I'm going to challenge you to draw a Venn diagram. And there says that there's 2 different ways, but I would just like to challenge you one way to draw it. So press pause on the video, and you can do it. So I'm going to put all the multiples of 2. I'm going to call this set A. All the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So I have 5 elements in that. Now, do they share any common elements? Now, yikes, I should have maybe, that was jumping the gun a bit, right? So what common elements are shared in my universe that are both multiples of 2 and 4? Well, that's 4 and 8. Now, I'm going to draw it like this, and I'm going to put the multiples of 2 in there. So this would be everything that's a multiple of 4. Now, A is everything that's a multiple of 2, contains 2, 4 is definitely in there, 6, 8, and 10. All right, so that's what this set looks like. Now, I can put the elements that are neither a multiple of 2 nor a multiple of 4. That would be, I guess, probably best described as every odd number. That's what I could draw here. Now, that's interesting to me, because now how many, the weird question is, how many elements are a multiple of 4 but not a multiple of 2? Well, there are none. So a second way that we could have drawn this is very quickly is I could have drew it like this. So I'm just going to make a smaller universe. I'm going to say, here's my elements of, there's A. I'm going to put 2, 10, and 6. And here, I could just put 4 and 8 and call this B. Now notice here, I don't particularly like this one on the right-hand side because it doesn't really give me a full picture of what's going on. I much prefer the one on the left-hand side because you can easily to see where the empty space is in this in these sets. Anyways, good luck with your homework. If you have any questions, please ask.